with that. Where is everybody in the world? I'm in the Philippines.
I'm based out of Hong Kong, as
Hong
I think I
Kong.
mentioned. Yeah,
Paris here.
Paris.
And I'm out of Toronto, in
Toronto.
Canada.
It has like nothing short of an epic feat to actually schedule
Agreed.
this session.
Yeah.
I mean, amid time zone difficulties, but we also had a typhoon here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is a pretty exciting session. I'm so glad that you all could be here. So just before we get started, I'll quickly introduce myself. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Leah Callon-Butler. I'm the director of Emfarsis. We're a consulting firm that is focused on the role of technology in advancing economic development, particularly within emerging economies, such as where I'm based in the Philippines. And we have an interest in advancing financial inclusion, which is why I really believe that discussions like the one we're about to have today about the rise of play-to-earn gaming and why these kind of innovations are super, super important in terms of taking us closer to realizing empowerment for more people who are currently living at the edges. And I also write a column for CoinDesk, which is a very, I think, a really fantastic crypto news publication. And my column's all about the impact of blockchain and crypto on communities across Southeast Asia. So you may also recognize me from a mini documentary. It was called Play to Earn, NFT Gaming in the Philippines. If you haven't seen it before, please check it out. Look it up on YouTube. It's called Play to Earn. But with that, I would love to introduce our fantastic panel that we have today. Bear with me one moment while I just bring up my notes. Okay, so we have Briyan Cessac. He is the CEO and co-founder of Screenshot. We've got James Park, who just introduced himself from Hong Kong before. He's the co-founder and COO of Revolve Games. And we also have Tanya, Lindsay, who is the co-founder of Cryptomibs. So thank you so much for being here with us today, guys. Really appreciate it. So just to kick us off, I wanted to throw to you. I mentioned before that I was involved with a mini documentary called Play to Earn. And it was focusing on the rise of Axie Infinity specifically and its adoption in the rural Philippines amid the COVID-19 lockdowns. But, you know, I'm hyper aware that this is just one story in the world. And it's very true that there are many different play-to-earn games out there that are being adopted by different communities all across the world. So I wanted to throw it to you and ask, if you were going to make your own play-to-earn documentary today, what story would you want to tell? Who would like to pitch me?
Well, I can go first if you like.
Go for it, Tanya.
I mean, the story I would like to pitch is to also just demonstrate not just how individual players can gain and earn from playing the game, but also I like to tell the story about how a whole community can actually participate in the play to earn space. So where you can actually have, right now we have individual artists, who are gaining or earning income through the NFT space, but they can actually be part of the gaming platform themselves and actually earn by displaying their art within a game. And as this, different assets are being used by the artists, that they're by the different players, they can actually also earn royalties or different income from being part of the game. And also individual developers who can, either add features or have a little bit of a different spin on a specific game, and they can actually earn income during doing that. So to me, that is really the story that is about to come out. I think it is starting to get there. We're not quite there yet. And essentially, if we were to fast forward 10 years from now, I would like, you do a revisit of the documentary and essentially say, okay, look how Web3 actually accomplished what Web 2 couldn't, right? Because Web 2 was supposed to also be, the internet of the people. It was supposed to be access to everybody, and it was going to, change the world. And it did change the world, but only for the Facebooks and the Googles of the world, not for the regular people. And my hope is that Web3 will actually accomplish that goal, that we will have, many small people, small companies, individuals who can actually make a living just for participating and making their contributions to some of the platforms that are going to be placed on it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's an incredible vision. Like, what about you, Briyan? What are you seeing in your world?
For me, there is 2 points that I found completely incredible. And by the way, what you've done with this documentary is awesome. This is just the thing that I send all the time to everyone that I want to introduce into play to earn game. And so thank you very much for saving me a lot of time to explaining all the impact that this may have positively, of course. I would just, add 2 aspects to this aspect if I add the possibility. First, that play to earn is international, and out of Philippines, this is as well about to go on in South America, Africa, North America, Europe, and everywhere. And to me, this is an aspect that is incredible, is the international aspect of how this will change on an international perspective straight ahead our economy and people capacity to actually invest and stuff even in their own lives with their family, inviting to the restaurant. But what I hope later on is that it will bring as well a lever for everyone to educate themselves, to get more knowledge, to increase everyone's ability to improve themselves. And there would be another aspect that I found super important in my opinion right now is how a commodity, which is the smartphone and internet, that is something which is globalized almost now in most of the places and will be for sure in the next years, is about to be the key element of with the play to earn a game changer for the world. And those 2 perspectives for me, international aspect and how about just with the smartphone and an internet aspect and a wallet, you will be able to create your revenues and change your life maybe for the better. That's for me for something that I'm super inspired of. I think this is why I'm here, and this is why I'm spending all this time working out because this is fascinating for me. And yeah, I just couldn't hope for anything else better than that what I do today.
Never get tired of like the energy and enthusiasm that kind of binds our community. What about you, James? What's play to earn to you? What's happening in your world?
Yeah, absolutely. I do have to absolutely agree with Tanya and Briyan of their ideas. Obviously, I come from an impact investing background. ESG is something really big for us. For me and for us at the team, we really do love the fact that play to earn is helping communities or bringing entire communities out of poverty or just to get food on the table as presented by your mini documentary, and that is something that I think is really interesting to me. Sort of from my perspective, I'm really more of a geeky person. I do like to think about the technical implications and how technology improves society as a whole, and play to earn has essentially done something that without being too without burning any bridges anywhere, it's been able to do what governments haven't been able to do and reward the right people correctly. Play to earn is something is a system and to a certain point an autonomous system that is able to reward creators, developers, users, gamers, and people in day-to-day lives that some people may argue that the government has failed to do so. And this is sort of really bringing centralization to become more decentralized. That's sort of the topics that I'd probably cover if I were to do a documentary about the play to earn ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. And it is super interesting like where this movement is going now. Like at the time that we were making this documentary, like as a funny anecdote, you guys will laugh, we were briefed on this documentary in December last year, and I made the strategic decision not to use any blockchain jargon, and we weren't even going to say the word acronym NFT, because no one knew what an NFT was in December 2020. But like fast forward to when we were doing the post-production process in February, March, the whole world knew what an NFT was. We had to go back and like change the voiceover to make sure we used the word as much as possible. But but not enough, clearly. But I think it's interesting because it was really just a seed, and it was meant to start from a place that was fairly simple. It was just a story that came out of the COVID-19 pandemic, but clearly we are moving to a very, very different landscape, which is quite sophisticated and complex. And, even considering government and regulatory interests now. So it's a kind of a pretty exciting place to be, really, like when you think about how new this movement is. But I guess that's what I would throw to you. Like most of the conversations that we've had about play to earn to date have been very much about its incredible momentum and all of its positive impact. But what do you think is actually next for this new category? And in the next 12 months, which are going to be epic, I think, but surely it will be rocky as well. Like, what sort of challenges are you seeing for the play to earn category ahead?
I can tell you my thought if you want on that.
Sure.
In my perspective, the hardest aspect to me in game in play to earn a model is how do you. I think it's a completely new perspective of how do you create a game as well in terms of all the infrastructure, the ecosystem, the tokenomics around this, and this is definitely something which is super new. There is few expertise on the subject. Axie is, of course, will be forever the one that paved the way to go and to discover that and to say, okay, let's go for it. But I think there will be a huge challenge for all of us that are going into these spaces. How do we create tokenomics that are valuable and that are that brings to everyone value on the long term, and that does not depreciate in what we do. So I think it's a super important aspect as for the momentum right now is how do we create gameplay that are interacting with the tokenomics at the same time, that are smart and that are creating value for the player, but as well let as much people entering into the game. And for example, there is like one aspect that I'm questioning myself. I don't for sure have the answer on this question, but does the manager and scholarship mechanism, is it going to be a long-term pattern, or actually we will tend to have more and more play to earn mechanism with a free-to-play beginnings for players, where actually it will be even more broader conversion for people all around the world without having this necessity at the beginning to input money and to be dependent on this. So all of these to me are super tricky questions. I don't have the answer for sure. We are still discovering it, trying to find the best way. How do you make a cool gameplay, a nice design, a cool community, and then smart tokenomics? But to me, yeah, those are the main stuff that we have in mind at the moment while creating all what we do.
Yeah, and just to add there, just for anyone who may be watching who isn't familiar with the idea of a scholarship, this particular innovation came out of the Axie Infinity community because the Axie NFTs that you need to play the game became so expensive that the people who could actually benefit most from play to earn in terms of generating the in-game reward tokens couldn't afford to get in because they couldn't afford the NFTs. So what happened was people who owned these NFTs already started to rent them. Just like any yield generating NFT asset, they would basically lend them out to people. And the result is like a profit or a revenue sharing model is the correct term to use, where the resulting in-game reward tokens are split between the person who is playing the game to earn them and the person who owned the NFT asset. So incredibly cool innovation to come out of the NFT space and really started to get people thinking about what was possible. But as Briyan is pointing out, that, is this actually a sustainable model, or has it been a short-term onboarding solution just to solve a bit of growing pains? So I agree that'll be really interesting to see how that evolves. What about you, Tanya? What do you think? What challenges do you see?
Yeah, so to just kind of evolve from what Briyan is saying, right? It's I think this is actually a great opportunity for the whole community to jump in to try to find innovative solutions to introduce more people to the space. For example, on our platform, what we've tried to do is we have something that we call a trading store. So because people who have been in this space for the last few years, they have tons of assets that now either have no value, or you've collected, people who collected CryptoKitties, you probably have 100 CryptoKitties that are worth nothing. So we have in our trading store, you can actually put your assets into the store and get our in-game currency for it. And then we have a reward store where with other people that have been trading their assets. So somebody could have, for example, traded an Axie that they don't want. They just assume that there is an Axie out there that somebody doesn't want. They can put it into our trade. They can trade it, and then somebody else can actually pick it up by using the in-game currency from our platform. So I think there's opportunities for other place. This is what is the beauty of blockchain, right? That you can actually interact with things that you didn't necessarily create. So I think that's there'll be innovations like that where it will allow people to come in. But to speak to what are the challenges coming forward, I actually think we have some more basic challenges. Right now I feel the people that are in this space, the audience right now, it's a very small tech savvy, with the exception of what Axie Infinity managed to accomplish in the Philippines. And I do believe that was just the perfect storm of, COVID, people losing their jobs and having a local innovator that was able to do that. To me, we have challenges like, fees, like the fees to use Ethereum, Ethereum actually almost killed us because we are a free to play platform that's trying to bring in users, and our assets are low cost on purpose. But right now, this is why we had to move to Matic. If you were to purchase one of our marbles on Ethereum, the NFT is like $10 and the fee is 120, right? So it doesn't make any sense. So we really have to, and I know that there's solutions coming, but having those kind of changes come up as you're trying to develop, it really hurts the development community. So we have to get around those hurdles, and we really just have to find a way to help bring in people who are not into the crypto space. So we do have to make a really big effort to get away from the crypto talk. It was funny how you mentioned, Leah, how you didn't want to mention NFTs initially until it got really popular all of a sudden, which is great. I mean, we had actually changed our website going from I think we were talking originally about blockchain marbles. We changed it to digital marbles so that people would, regular person would understand. But now we've gone to NFT marbles because now everybody knows what that means, and that's fine. But for example, James, you were talking about the staking contracts and all this stuff that happens in the background. But the average person, it just loses them, right? So we have to find a way to have all these benefits without necessarily having to, talk the techno talk all the time. So to me, those are going to be some of the big things that there's some of them are technical and some of them are almost cultural, I think, in order to bring in more people into the space.
Yeah, I feel you on the gas fees. Absolutely.
Oh my God, yes.
James, what challenges do you see in your crystal ball?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, with regards to challenges, sort of the most obvious one has to be mentioned. It'll be the regulatory challenges. Obviously, we've been hearing news out of the Philippines as well that the tax board has started to look at players, especially Axie players out of the Philippines, and has been considering whether sort of Axie sort of gainings earned from playing Axies would be taxable in the future. I think as ecosystems, as play to earn ecosystems grow out, there will be quite a few regulatory hurdles. Also, another concern that we have also been thinking about are privacy and private security for privacy sort of protocols and ensuring that client data can be protected. I think sort of what I've seen from talking with a lot of projects in blockchain gaming, given that we are still very early in this segment, is that sometimes because we're projects that are bootstrapping or are trying to have sort of a too fast of a growth, we somehow miss some of these regulatory hurdles that the big players, say for example Atari, Ubisoft, et cetera, that they might always be thinking about. Sometimes we just sort of entrepreneurship is a double-ended sword. We do want to sort of give the customers what they want and obviously have our ideas, but sometimes we do jump over a couple of hurdles, or we do jump over a couple, or we take a couple of shortcuts to get there, and I think at some point those shortcuts that we take will come back to haunt us at some point, and I think sort of moving forward, sort of play to earn ecosystems and the wider blockchain gaming community has to be sort of more cognizant of regulatory concerns.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, James. And also sometimes I personally think it's a bit of a reframing as well. Like the tax issue in the Philippines certainly did cause a huge community uproar and people were very upset about it. But to me also, people are earning income and income is taxable. And to me, this actually brings incredible legitimacy to the play to earn movement. So yeah, sure, no one is like super stoked about having to pay taxes, but I would say that paying tax on income that you have earned that is legitimate is better than not earning that income at all. So it's kind of like upgrading to a new and better problem. But you know, it's all part of it, and certainly the road to success is going to be you know, not without its bumps along the way. So, and community is very important. I guess just to throw another. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to add that I actually think that blockchain space is actually going to revolutionize taxation in general, because I think many governments are going to have to rethink how you tax, especially income earned on the blockchain. But that's a whole other talk. But yeah.
We should totally schedule another talk.
Oh yeah, totally.
I agree. But I mean, you guys have been like super transparent and honest about some of the challenges that the space may be facing in the near future. So I wanted to throw you another tricky one, because I hear all the time people from outside the space criticizing blockchain games that they're not fun. And I just wanted to hear from you, like, you know, I'm not going to pass my judgment here, but I want to hear your opinion. Is that fair to say that blockchain games aren't fun? And does it even matter? Like, are blockchain games meant to be like AAA games, or are we building something entirely different here? Would you compare it to a different type of game? Like, what do you think?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, let's just be clear here. We are still very early in blockchain gaming. Even if we go back to traditional gaming and we think of Pong, it's a very simple game. It has a lot of hours played on it, yet it's the same game over and over again, and eventually it'll get boring. The thing is, we are still very early. If you think about Sandbox or Decentraland, to name a few of the largest games, they've only been around for 3 years, and a lot of these traditional game developers are spending 8, 9, 10 or even more than 10 years to develop a AAA rated game. So I think it's a good observation, but it's just something that obviously is sort of the result of less time and resources having been put into this point. That being said, I do believe that blockchain gaming in general and the play to earn games will see more competition in the future, and what competition brings is higher quality games, higher quality content, higher quality technology, et cetera, and so while something that we might find boring now is sort of the foundations of what our sort of our future generations of developers will be producing for essentially our customers, because they are competing at the end of the day for the same people that we do obviously. Sorry about that. Yeah. So obviously competition will be good for the market, will be good for quality, and I do have sort of hope for the future, and that not every blockchain game will be a boring product.
I agree with you. Like, this is a really early stage, and I think what people are trying to build from the ground up is is different to necessarily the aesthetic or even the user experience that you would kind of expect at the output. Like the tokenomic design of some of these games is actually brand new, and a lot of people are focusing on that element. But, particularly in the play to earn documentary as well, just put all of that aside, we spoke to people who do find these games incredibly fun and they absolutely love them. Lola and Lolo, the elderly couple, was saying they play up to 100 games every day, and it was their only entertainment and companionship throughout the pandemic. And they're so thankful for that. They pray to God that the game won't go away. So I don't know. I don't buy it. Oops, I said I wasn't going to pass judgment, but yeah, I think blockchain games are fun. Somebody else, Tanya.
Yeah, I think the reason why they've been deemed as boring up to this point is because people were just trying to apply the technology to a game. So I know as part of our own development, right? Initially, we were just everything has to be on the blockchain, and it really limits as to what some of the things that you can do from a gaming perspective. I think we have moved away now from that, if you're not totally on the blockchain, you're not classified as a blockchain game. That's no longer the case. You're seeing a lot more hybrid models, I think, and especially, understanding that a lot of what happens on the front end can't be on the blockchain. It's now more acceptable. So now I think you're going to start to see a lot of more, regular games and AAA games being developed that have a blockchain component to it, but in accepting that, a lot of it is still going to be somewhat centralized, but you have certain components of the game that are on the blockchain. Yeah.
On my side, I cannot be more agree with James and on everything that you said, and Tanya as well. There is one aspect that I think people tend to not really take a little bit step back, because everything in crypto goes so fast, and I think no one can say otherwise, because the team that are involved, the passion that everybody has, and the speed at the rhythm that we are going right now, to me is incredible. I've never seen so much people working around me hours as we do for any other jobs. I don't think any industry can go at the same pace as we do at the moment. But maybe what we need to say is that games are actually a really complex product to build in a lot of ways. And in my perspective, like if you take incredible teams like Riot Games, when they build a product, they take 5 years to really spend time to be sure that the gameplay, just the gameplay right now, is correct, it's fair, it's enjoyable and everything. And in addition to this as gameplay aspect, now we have to think about the tokenomics. We have as well to think about the technical layers, how to onboard people, to help them get a wallet in the meantime. So there is a lot of constraints at the same time that everybody tried to solve with limited resources and limited team, and with a huge passion, people. And I think it's plays in the balance that we don't focus all our energy only into the gameplay. We try to focus as much on delivering the fastest possible optimized experience to everyone at the moment. But as James were saying, like, I'm sure in the coming years there will be plenty more of competition that will bring quality. As for the gameplay, there is as well the aspect of right now I'm onboarding into my team people that are not initially crypto native people in some sense. So we have as well on our team side, so all of us here, we need to onboard those people, to educate them, to be understanding the game when they come from the normal game industry kind of, and we need to explain them everything. And so it's actually a new education as well for even people that was coming from the gameplay, that cannot put just we cannot just take League of Legends and put it as it is into the play to earn ecosystem. It's a really quick shortcut here. So we need to rethink completely the models, as for the tokenomics, as for the team transition, the technical layer. So there is so many subjects at the same time, and the ecosystem is going so fast that I think we just try to do our best for the moment. But there is no question for me that, to me, this is a paradigm shift completely, what's happening right now, that this will this transition will lead for way better gameplay in the future. No question for me on this. It's just like we need time, we need to increase our knowledge, we need to increase our skills on this domain. And as much as we go super fast and everyone is super intelligent in the ecosystem and passionate, there are still like time limits that we cannot just overreach. And yeah, I think it's just a matter of time. But to me, I have no problematic on this for sure.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. So just to add to what everyone else was saying as well, I think there's this real focus on the play aspect, but I think a lot of people are attracted to play to earn for the earn aspect, and I think that's actually completely fine, and it represents, as you said, a paradigm shift in terms of how we think about these games and the benefit that they bring to people. So on that, I wanted to ask you, like, how do you see play to earn games as different and I guess separate and unique to the broader NFT and DeFi space? By DeFi, I mean decentralized finance, for anyone who isn't familiar with that term. And, what kind of innovation and use cases do you think play to earn gaming could deliver for Web3 in the near future and maybe even the longer term? I guess how you were saying, onboarding is so difficult, but play to earn seems to be a very conducive pathway for people to actually get into some of these DeFi products, like a great way for them to kind of find their way. So, like, how do you see play to earn being unique to the rest of everything that's going on right now?
If I may go first,
Yes.
I actually think that play to earn is a superset of all of what you described, because games can actually have components of DeFi. They can have the components of just the plain NFTs. I mean, the way I see, and you've already started to see a little bit of this, for example, in Axie Infinity, where you can actually rent your Axie to somebody. Or you might be able to purchase an Axie, and or you may be able to be part of a governance model. So I think there's many opportunities in play to earn to incorporate all these aspects. Even for your regular artists, right? If you designed an Axie, and as it gets purchased and traded and upgraded, you as an artist can maybe gain some, a small percentage of income from those sales. Even as a musician, if you have your music as an NFT, maybe as part of the game, people can have the option, to play this song or that song as they're playing, and depending which one they choose, the artist would actually get a small percentage. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can incorporate in the gaming space. So I do believe that we are superset. So not necessarily unique. We are, the overall super user, which I think then can actually carry on to other areas, not just in gaming, but you can take all this technology that we've developed, and you can apply it to a whole bunch of other industries, and I don't know, job search sites could use some of this technology. There's all kinds of different use cases. So I don't think we're unique. I think we are the superset.
No, I love that. That's a really great take on it. We've got less than 2 minutes left, but James, just a quick one. How do you see it, and maybe even a bit of a takeaway, a wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with everything Tanya has said, and obviously I do hope for the future the play to earn is really the forerunner of the to earn series. Eventually, someday, I do want the world to be to develop to a point where people are able to learn to earn. Learning shouldn't stop at the education. The learning should really be so that they can so people can take what they learn and essentially go ahead and earn that. But because I think sort of Web3 is well primed to do that. Play to earn. So gaming has historically been around for quite a long time, but sort of a proper play to earn system has not been established, and through Web3, through blockchain technology, we have entrepreneurs who are building out these sort of ecosystems that are play to earn, and I am hoping that in the future we do develop these to earn series to a point where people are able to learn just to earn. So yeah.
Yeah. It's learn to earn. I love. Let's go there. And Briyan, did you have any closing thoughts in terms of how this is, where this is going?
I'm fully agree with everything that has been said. James, I have the exact same vision as you on this perspective. There is just the thing that for me, compared, DeFi and NFT is so much more tangible for everyone, as we have all been playing and earning games and earning inside game money. But it's just the fact that now it's going to get broader with the aspect of you can withdraw your money from the blockchain ecosystem. To me, I have a bet on this, but to me, in my perspective, play to earn game and the game industry will for sure be the biggest driver, in my opinion, or one of the biggest driver for the paradigm shift of the blockchain in the coming years. And to me, I don't see how it cannot be the case, because with just actually showing right now, and with all the people that will come and the quality that is about to arrive, to me, we are about to assist to something which has never been seen ever. And there was just the last part I wanted to talk, but just James just talked about it. I do believe as well on the long term, what's going to happen is that there will be such a magnific vision of a wonderful vision of having this play and learn to earn that could actually either increase the capacity of people to invest in their environment and local cultural, but as well into learning more and get more knowledge. And I think through those two elements, this could be world changing for me through as well the commodity that are the smartphone and the internet. This could be as well a paradigm shift of a size that we've never seen. But it involves a lot of time and energy, and I can't wait to see all of this coming.
I can't wait either. I think we could talk about this all night. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I just want to say thank you so much. It's been a fantastic conversation, and I hope we can keep going after this offline.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.